I'm going to suspend the work program just like I would suspend jail. If you are in treatment, and I'm talking about like inpatient treatment, then let me know. If you're in treatment for 10 days, I'm going to figure that's work program. You got it? Because I'd much rather have you on the inpatient track than the jail or jail alternative track. All right, so we're going to take a straight up guilty plea to count 2, the intoxicated driving, right? And plead with added charge of an attempt 4th degree fleeing and eluding, which would be a 1-year misdemeanor, I think, right? And then the original 1 and 3 would be dismissed. Got that right? All right. Mr. Hudson, did you go over your rights and options with counsel? You understand those rights and the options they give you? You understand the possible penalty for the added charge of attempt 4th degree fleeing and elude?
He asked you a question.
You understand the possible penalty for the added charge of the attempt fleeing and elude 4th degree?
Yes.
And you understand the possible penalty for the charge of intoxicated driving? All right. Understanding all of these things, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily to those 2 charges today? Counsel, would you voir dire to give me the facts that support the pleas?
Gotcha.
That's all right. I can give you an incident date. September 22nd, 2020 in the city of Romulus.
Riding a vehicle.
Yeah.
And were you intoxicated at that time?
Yeah.
And at that time, did the police attempt to stop you?
Yeah.
Okay, and you did not stop. You
All right. And was there a blood test or a breath test? Do you know the results of that test, sir? Counsel, would you stipulate that it was 0.08 or more? You satisfied that I've got the facts I need?
That.
So am I. I'll dismiss the original counts as per the agreement. All right. Mr. Hudson, we're going to send you downstairs to our probation department. They're going to schedule with you to come back for a pre-sentence interview. Based on that interview, the probation department will prepare a written report and a recommendation of sentence. You understand that? Would you follow them through the sentence, counsel?
Absolutely.
All right. So when you come back for your sentencing date, and you go down and pick the date. All right. So on the sentencing date, when you come back, you and counsel will have a chance to go over that report and recommendation. I will have looked at the report and recommendation. Then we'll have a conversation about anything you want to talk about before I decide what your sentence should be. You understand how the process is going to work? All right. Bond is continued.
Thank you, John.
Have a great day.
Yeah, make sure that they are verbal, so no uh-uhs or uh-huhs, because everything has to be picked up by the recording, okay? Yes. Thank you. So do you know an individual named Maurice Jordan?
Yes.
And how do you know him?
For many years, he was a friend of mine.
Okay,
Um,
and how many years would you guess?
I met him when I was about 20 and I'm almost 33 now.
So at least 10 years?
Yeah, something along that, yes.
Okay, and you said he was a friend of yours?
Yeah,
Okay,
and he was also at one point my drugs
okay.
when I was an active.
When you say that again?
When I was in active addiction.
Okay. And are you now?
No.
Okay. And so did you have a nickname that you referred to him by?
Everybody does, it's Mo.
Mo. And I'm just gonna ask, you can take a look around the courtroom. Do you see Mr. Jordan or Mo anywhere in the courtroom?
If you take a few steps over,
Okay, can you please identify what he's wearing?
it's the defendant with the silver jacket and the purple shirt.
Okay, thank you. Let the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant.
Noted.
Or please.
You're okay. I got one up here if you need it.
Okay, so I'm gonna take you back to October 8th of 2024. Did something happen between you and Mo that brings you to court today?
Yes.
Okay, can you talk about or tell the court, where did you meet or where did you see Mr. Jordan that day?
He told me to come over that we were gonna go grocery shopping.
Okay.
That's not a crazy thing. He has come over to my house and, just for reference, fixed up my AC so that my older children had AC in the home and, when I've had CPS call and they said, we need another adult there. He's been the adult who has came. So, this was nothing new.
Okay.
You know, you wanna go to the grocery store? Sure.
Okay, and that was part of your friendship that you described earlier with me?
Yeah.
Okay, and, do you recall where you actually met him? When you said you went over, where was that?
That was his, house, his baby mama's house now.
Okay,
His original home in Inkster.
okay, do you remember which street it was on?
Hi.
Okay, is
But-
it,
But the house was, that day
yes,
was on Smith and
Okay.
Rock.
so that day on October 8th, you went to his house on Smith,
Yes,
his meaning Mr. Jordan's?
yes.
Okay, and that was, in what city did you say?
Romeo.
Okay, and is that in Wayne County?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
right where they built the new sheets by the, by 94.
Okay, and so when you got to his house, describe what your initial, interaction was like with Mr. Jordan.
It was very scattered. There was, another male there and I could tell that they were both kind of out of it.
Okay,
And then I soon become aware that, Mo had been up for like 4 days.
okay, so I'm gonna take a step back. When you get to the house, had you been to that house before, the one with
Yes.
Smith?
Yes, very amazing.
Okay, can you describe what the house looks like when you go through the door?
Okay, so you walk, well, first you have to be let in,
Okay,
but there's the ring camera system and then there's the metal door that you can only get in and out by key.
okay,
And then there's a normal door which he has barricaded with
Okay.
like, metal prongs on each side and I call it Detroit style.
okay.
Because that's very common from where I grew up in Southwest Detroit.
Okay, so can you describe what inside of the house looks like?
You walk in and there's a kitchen on the right, there's a living room as soon as you walk in, and then you go down and the hallway,
Okay,
and there is a bathroom to your right, a room to your right, another room right after that, and then it's like a little causeway that goes all the way to the garage.
okay,
And then in the back, and in the back of the kitchen, there's a laundry.
got it. Okay, so when you get to the house, does someone let you in then?
Yeah.
Who let you? Mo does, okay. And you noticed or you indicated that there was another male that was also present?
Yeah,
Did you know who that person was?
no, I still don't.
Okay, and at that time, what were your observations of what was going on in the house when you get there?
It's very helter-skelter and, Mo is being very hostile that he, it's very out of his character.
Okay, so he was behaving hostile?
Yes.
Towards who? You or
Say
Sam?
just in general.
Okay, okay.
Do you want an example?
Yeah, like what was he doing or saying?
He dropped a big bottle of meth and then, like accused me and the other guy of which, and like I never even liked him. That was
Okay.
kind of his choice.
Okay,
He freaked out and then I'm like, and he's yelling and screaming and accusing us things. And then I'm like, are you talking about that pill bottle on the floor with all the stuff falling out of it? He's like, oh.
okay,
Just that, for example,
Okay.
he's just very upset. And then I learned later that, him and this guy have been up for 4 days.
got it. At some point, does this guy leave the house? Okay, and then,
Mo gets very upset and it like makes him leave.
okay, and at this point, is it just you and Mo in the house or is anyone else there?
No, it's just,
Okay, so what do you remember happening next?
he kicks him out, he locks the door and, I walk into his bedroom and he is naked from the waist up.
Okay, what led you to go into the bedroom? Did something
He
happen?
called me back.
Okay, so he goes to the bedroom.
Yes.
What are you doing at that point, if you remember?
I don't.
Okay, and so he calls you into the bedroom?
Yeah.
Okay, do you go?
Yes.
And what do you see when you get into the bedroom?
Him, standing there nude from the waist up.
Okay, and what kind of thing happens next when you notice that?
He does this, he was trying to get me to perform sexual, oral sex with him.
Okay, When you said he was trying to or getting you to, how was he doing that? Was it?
Physically, kind of like physically, like, and, he's done that in the past and it's worked. I've caved and I've been like, oh, okay.
Okay.
So he's probably thinking he's done something done many times before with any other.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop right there. So it sounds like previously you and Mr. Jordan had some sort of sexual, like, relationship as well as your friendship.
Yes.
Okay, at this time, when you went in October of 2024, were you guys engaging in any sort of sexual relationship?
That
at
was
that
not
time?
my intention.
Okay, but prior to that date, had you guys, hold on, listen to the question.
Okay.
How long before that October date had you engaged in any sort of consensual sexual relationship with him?
Probably about 2-3 months prior.
Okay, so it had been a couple months.
Yeah.
Okay, and that day, when you're saying that he, I guess, tried to have you perform oral sex, did he say something to you to make you believe that?
I don't recall.
Okay.
I don't remember the word.
You don't remember what he said,
Yeah.
but does he say something to you?
Yes.
Okay, and then you said that in the past, as it relates to this incident, you said that, he did something with his hands. Can you describe what happened?
Put his hand on the back of my neck and forced my head down
Okay,
and took his hands and put them into my mouth.
Okay.
And pried my jaw
okay.
open.
Did you want to engage in that after his
No.
state?
I actually ended up telling him that he smelled like another woman, and that worried me because I know he's known to sleep around with other people too, which whatever.
But you didn't want to engage with him at that time because of that.
That and then I was pregnant.
Okay, so that was not something you were interested in on this date.
Yeah, no.
Okay, and when you said that he was grabbing your head, and I think you motioned, what was he doing with your head and your neck?
Pushing it down to his crotch.
Okay, and then you also described or we were showing physically that he was trying to open up your mouth.
Yeah,
and your jaw.
manually open my mouth and
Okay.
put his penis.
Did you indicate to him in any way that to stop or not? Did you or that you didn't want
I
to
told
stop?
him no.
Okay.
I told him he smelled like another bitch.
Okay.
And that I did not want to catch an STD. I'm pregnant, that could hurt my baby.
Got it. Okay. Did he listen to any of those requests?
No,
Okay, so what happens when he's grabbing you with?
I don't remember, but I remember that I maneuvered out of it.
Okay,
And then at this point, and I run to the front door.
so let me take a step back before we get there. Is there any contact that happens with your mouth and any part of his body?
Yes.
What contact happens?
He manually put his penis into my mouth.
Okay, so it went past your lips?
Yes.
Okay, and when that happened, what, if any, movement or what occurred?
I pulled back and I told him that he smells. I asked him if he had sex with someone else.
Okay. Okay.
And then he immediately went back to that irate state.
Okay,
And like, how dare I even ask him that? And so I never got an answer. So that was my answer. So I told him I didn't want to, no. And I was actively pulling my head back as he is pushing it down.
okay. And how long, if you remember, did that last?
I have no,
Okay.
it's been too long.
That's fair. And so you said that you were able to maneuver yourself, okay? Is that how that act of penetration stops?
Yes.
Okay, so what do you do afterwards?
I run to the front door,
Okay,
but I mentioned that door is locked by a key that only he holds.
okay. And when you went into his house, did you have any belongings with you?
Yeah.
What did you have?
I had my purse, and it had like a couple vapes in there.
So that we don't,
my wallet, just normal stuff.
okay.
Um,
Did you have a phone on you?
yes.
Okay, so after this incident happens, when you're in the bedroom, do you have your belongings with you?
No, that's why I ran to the door. I
Okay.
seen it was locked, and so I go back, and he's going through my belongings.
Okay, What is he doing?
He took my phone and he said, what are you gonna call the cops on me, bitch? And then
Okay.
slammed my phone against the wall, which cracked it, but did not break it.
Okay, do you, are you eventually able to take back your belongings?
Yeah, he held them and said, I'm holding this as collateral. And I'm like, what collateral? I didn't ask you for anything, you didn't give me anything, what are you talking about? But, his eyes were so glazed over, I could tell that this is some abuse I've never even, this is a person I've never met.
Okay, and so were you, when he threw your phone against the wall and he had your belongings?
No, my belongings are everywhere.
I see.
And he smokes vapes, so he's taking my vapes and he's like, these are mine now. And I'm like, okay, well, I took all of them except one. Like, you can have one, I don't care, but you're not gonna take every last thing from me.
Okay,
And so I gathered my things, and as I'm gathering my things, I just remember him being very irate, calling me a whore and a dumb bitch. And then when I finally, I did get my stuff back from him because like I said, I gave him the one vape. and-
yeah. Did you get your phone back?
Yeah, I eventually did.
Okay, what do you mean eventually? Like, did it take you time to get it back?
Yeah,
And why was that?
because he was holding it.
Okay, and so are you in any way indicating to him that you would like to leave his home?
Yeah,
Okay, and how are you doing so?
verbally.
Okay, and what, if anything, does he respond to that?
I don't get a response.
Okay, does he allow you to leave?
No.
And why or what happens that he is not allowing you to leave?
Like I said, his door, you can only get out by key.
Okay,
And so, that's what leads me back to, I go back there and I gather my stuff. And then I find the keys on the floor by his pants.
okay,
And then now it's moving on to, oh, I'm going in his pockets to steal his drugs. And I'm like, I just want to help.
okay,
I just want to go home.
okay. It's okay. Do you need a second?
No, got it. And then I get to the door, but there is like a million keys, like it. And so it was like a janitor's here, and he brings it from the many properties. Yeah, so I'm just trying every key that I can, and it's not the right one. And by this time, he realizes that I have my stuff, I have my keys, and he thinks that I fully into them, fully calling the police on him.
Okay,
So I'm trying every key that I could, and then he comes up from behind me and he slams my head into the metal door. And by that, I mean top of the head, because like I said at the time, I was like 4 or 5 months pregnant, enough to be showing.
okay, let's very just, I wanna take a step back. You're saying you're trying to exit the door, you're trying different keys, he comes up and he grabs you behind the head and hits your head against the door?
Yeah.
Okay. Does any other physical assault happen during this time? Does he hit you in any other way?
No, but it was kind of like fight or flight. I was just trying to get out, and
Okay.
the only thing I could think to do was to just cover my stomach
Okay.
and just duck down and just lean forward and just cover my stomach.
Okay, and when you're doing that, what is he doing?
He grabbed me by my hair and was repeatedly slamming my head
Okay.
into the metal doors.
Okay, and you have mentioned now a couple times that you were pregnant at this time. How far along were you?
I was almost 5 months.
Okay, and did you tell him that you were pregnant?
Yeah, I told him that because at the time I didn't know. I told him that there's a 50% chance that I'm a mess.
Oh,
But thank the Lord it's not.
okay.
But
And at the time you told him that you were pregnant and you thought that it could have even been his child.
Yeah.
Okay, and Does that in any way stop him from continuing to assault you?
No.
So he continues to assault?
Of anything I heard, I don't care or you don't care.
Okay.
It's hard to remember words when it's that long, but I remember that sticking in my head.
Okay.
It's either he said, I don't care, or he said that he didn't.
I see. And so what happens next after he's physically assaulting you?
I finally get the right key.
Okay,
And I run to the front yard and he is not dumb enough to run out into his front yard in Romulus half naked as a black man chasing after anybody. And he knew that was, and then he saw me on my phone with my stepfather,
so who were you trying to call when you were on your phone?
my stepfather.
Okay, did he answer?
Yes,
Okay, what do you ask of your stepfather?
come and get me right now.
Okay, does he come and get you?
Yeah, he asked, where are you? And I said, I'm at Mom's. And
Okay,
he automatically knew where I was.
okay,
And he came and got me, but he swore that I was trying to call the police. So at this point, he's not exiting his door.
Okay.
He's screaming profanities, but he's not gonna leave his house. So I have reached a safety zone.
okay,
Because there's neighbors, there's peering eyes, so I can start to breathe for a second.
okay, and what's your stepdad's name?
Michael White?
Okay, and does he come pick you up?
Yeah.
Okay, can you describe what your demeanor was like at the time when he comes picks you up? Like how are you physically
I was physically disheveled,
Okay.
hair ripped out of my head. I asked him like what I should do
Okay,
and if I should call the police.
you asked who?
My stepfather.
Okay,
And I asked him if I should call the police, and he said no because I used to be in active addiction myself, so
Okay.
he thought that they weren't gonna help me.
okay, and did you in fact then call the police at that moment?
No,
Okay, where did your stepdad take you?
home.
Okay, at some point do you report the incident?
Yeah, I do. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning the next day.
Okay.
It's like, or something like that, and it's eating me away. I can't just let them get away.
Okay, how do you report it? What do you do?
I call and run to the police and tell them that I need to report something that happened. And even still at this time, my stepfather's telling me that I do.
Okay. At the time, did the police come and talk to you about what happened?
Yeah.
Where did you go somewhere, or did they come to you?
They always say to me.
Okay, they came to you at your house?
Mhm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. And so, sorry, I lost my train of thought. You just said something that I wanted to clarify. At the time, so you mentioned a couple times that you previously were an active user, is that correct? Okay, is that a yes?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. I'm getting too
That's okay. In October of 2024, when you went to see Mo, you said you went for grocery shopping, right?
Yes.
Okay, at the time, were you an active user or were you?
No, I was actually in rehab.
Okay, and so that, at the time in October, when you were seeing Mo, were you in any way intending to buy drugs or do anything like that?
No.
Okay, and then when you spoke to the police at your house that time, you said it was early hours in the morning, like around 1 a.m. or something the next day. Do you disclose to them what happened, what he did?
Yeah.
Okay. One moment, Jack.
Sure.
You know, take that way, but stop and take it. Right now, get right, see is it.
And at the time, you said that when he took your phone and threw it against the wall, he indicated it was to prevent you from contacting the police?
Yes.
Okay. I have no further questions, thank you.
Counsel, can I take a waiver before we do cross? You need a break? Go and use the restroom, anything? Just come back in the courtroom when you're ready.
Thank you.
Councilman Williams, come on up. We'll bring him in.
Signed.
Captain. Do we need him in here? Counsel, your appearance for Mr. Williams, please.
Morning, I'm Carol Chapman Morris, my case is 31887, and I'm here on behalf of Mr. Williams, who is present to my left, George, name, sir.
My name's Bill Williams.
Thank you, sir. Counsel, we're gonna waive.
That's right, I have, this is my client, the purpose of a preliminary examination and its standard, which is probably wrong. And I'm not going to judge he wants to make the right case, reading is in place. They do it by that, so.
Thank you, counsel. Is that true? You understand your rights and options? And you understand the purpose for the exam? You know what it means to waive. It means your next court date's downtown. You're doing this freely and voluntarily? Satisfied, counsel?
Yes.
All right. I need signatures. Counsel, anything as to bond? Bond will be continued. I wish you luck downtown. Oh, really? Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me? You had no pen?
It's not there.
Do you have a bullet in your gun, Barney? He had no pen.
He always needs it.
Couldn't find one. Yeah.
I mean, I think we should have a discussion about not being prepared to do your job.
Maybe you should give him a card. Bigger.
I think we got to tether something to his wrist.
There is an explanation, but I don't know.
Thank you, counsel. Hey, Joe, let's see if we can find the victim.
You can find this one? Okay. Let me. Yeah.
Holler for Mr. Straight too. Brian Straight, send him in. I can take care of that. Joe, you listening? Joe. I know you're chatting up defense counsel, but could you have Mr. Straight come in too? Brian Straight.
Does he know who the attorney is?
I'm assuming Mr. Gagnick will hear the name. No. Counsel, your appearance for Mr. Straight. We're gonna get you out of here.
The pending service E6 for 220 is ready to do himself. Right, sir.
I've got paperwork here that says prosecutor is dismissing. I'm assuming it's okay with you fellas.
It is.
All right. This is dismissed without prejudice. Did you post any cash bond? You're free to go then. Thank you, gentlemen.
Because of the reason they don't Okay. All right.
You still under oath.
Okay.
Bless you. Mr. Noakes, your witness.
Before I begin my cross-examination, I appreciate if you'd inquire of the witness whether or not she's taking any drugs or alcohol, but she's been shaking really visibly throughout her testimony. And after saying that, before I begin my cross-examination.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Have you had any alcohol or drugs?
So I can actually bring drug screens for you.
Okay.
Like.
Answer
I've been in
sufficient.
recovery and clean since 2/20 of 22 or 21.
Okay. Thank you.
I will take back to the 8th of October 2024. When you arrived at this, from the time you arrived at Mr. Jordan's house till the time you were back outside on the porch, approximately how long was that?
I don't recall, sir. It's been over a year, almost two.
So you don't know how long it was?
No.
Okay, from the time you walked into
I
this
thought that
house.
it was still daylight when I went in, and it was still daylight when I went out.
So I'm just trying to figure out exactly how much time you left. Now, at the point where you were trying to leave Mr. Jordan's house, you say you went to the front door, correct? And the
Yeah.
front door was locked.
Yes.
And at some point you retrieved your purse.
Yes.
Okay, and at that point, your phone was in the purse at that point?
No, all my stuff had been thrown all about the room.
Okay, and at some point, however, you did retrieve your telephone.
Yes, after it got slammed against the wall. Yeah.
Yeah, the question is you did get it back, so, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and at that point, you called your stepfather? That was the first person you called?
Yeah.
And rather than calling the police, you called him?
Yes.
And you say you had just been assaulted sexually by Mr. Jordan, yet you did not call the police.
Yeah.
Now, you've known Mr. Jordan for slightly, maybe more than 10 years at that point, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And during that relationship or during your friendship with Mr. Jordan, you did have sex with Mr. Jordan on occasion?
Yes, before my pregnancy.
Okay.
That I've had consensual sex with him in the past. This was not consensual.
Just stick to the question that I mentioned. So, over that 10-year period, approximately how many times have you had sex with Mr. Jordan?
Maybe a handful because when he was with his baby mama, I had respect for her, so I didn't do it, but I didn't care.
Now, as for other information, please listen to the question and answer only the question. So you say it had been a handful of times, is that 5 times?
Yes.
10 times, how many?
I just answered you 5 times. 5 times. Yeah.
And that, did that always consist of oral sex?
No.
What else did it consist of?
We had consensual sex.
And the last time before October 2024 that you had consensual sex with Mr. Jordan was about 4 months before that?
Yes.
And that was when you had, or you performed oral sex with him?
No, I don't recall. I don't know if I did. That's been like 2 years ago. I don't recall, sir.
Yes, you don't remember. Okay.
No.
And after you left his house that day, you went home?
Mhm.
And from the time that you went home till the time you called the police at approximately 1 a.m. the next day, what did you do?
I cried.
Okay.
I was in disbelief that someone that I had put so much time and friendship into, like, I would drive him around before he had cars. Now he has numerous cars, so he wouldn't be any
But in
type of the person he was, it had not been for me. So for him to cross that line, I felt very disrespected.
so, excuse me, did he have a car that day?
Yeah.
And he had other homes that day?
Well, I
Was that
when
on October 8th, 2024? Did he have a car? Did he own a car?
yes,
Okay, and you've talked about just briefly, the answer you gave me was that he has homes?
because of me, because of people
The
like me
question is, he has,
that he uses.
okay. And,
So what does that have to do with him assaulting?
well, if you'll listen to the question and answer the question, you may find out the answer.
I would love to.
Now, are you upset with Mr. Jordan because he hasn't repaid the favors that you've done for him?
No, I'm upset that he doesn't, that he, despite what you do for somebody or how you really care about somebody or what, it's none of that. Thank you for trying to redirect it. No, I'm upset because he took it that far.
Okay.
It adds insult to injury, all of it. For him to take it that far.
So as you sit here today, are you upset with Mr. Jordan for anything other than the fact that he fined anything?
No,
Let me finish the question first. Do you want to upset with him over anything else?
no, sir.
And before then, were you upset? When did you first become upset about the incident of the 8th of October 2024?
That day when he did it,
But we didn't call the police right away.
because
You didn't
he's
call
a
the
known
police
drug
right-
dealer. I'm not calling the police to his house.
Okay, you can't both talk at the same time. That's tough on Heather. So the question he asked was, you didn't call the police.
I did not call the police to a known drug dealer's house. No.
And if he's a known drug dealer, you knew him to be that.
Yeah, but I thought in my
Hold
mind,
hold on. Just answer the questions.
So you knew him to be a drug dealer on the 8th of October 2024.
Mhm.
That was a yes?
Yes,
And you had in fact bought drugs from him or used drugs with him before then, correct?
no, we don't use the same drugs.
Okay, but had he provided drugs to you before October 8th, 2024?
Years ago, before, when I was still in active addiction, like I said, I have, years. plus-
That was a yes.
Yes,
And when you got there on October 8th, 2024, you found him to be in a state of upset.
yes,
And you say that he had been away for roughly 4 days, is that correct?
that's what I gathered
How did you gather that?
from what they said,
From Mr. Jordan?
from what Mo and whatever this gentleman's name is, that's what they said to each other.
So, and did he appear to be on drugs at the time that you got there?
Very much.
And yet, despite the fact that Mr. Jordan appeared to be upset and to have been on drugs and to have been away for 4 days, you decided to stay.
One, I love her,
The one that's easily answered by this, you decided to stay.
yes,
And
but if he's not.
Hold on. You just get to answer questions. There might be a lot of information you want to share, but unless somebody elicits that information with a question, you don't get to share it.
Well, he brought it.
You don't get to share it. It's yes or no if it's possible.
And once you saw Mr. Jordan in the condition you found him in, did you still expect to go grocery shopping with him at that time?
No, he's screaming, don't order turkey online at me.
I appreciate it very much. You simply answer the question like this. I'm not asking you anything complicated. Okay, so I just want to make sure, in terms of the time, from the time you got there till the time that your stepfather came, how long was it?
I don't know, maybe 2 hours. Like I said, it was dark when I went in, it was dark when I left. I don't recall it has been too long.
No further questions.
Redirect.
You, Ms. Ashley, I just have a couple of questions I want to clarify. Sorry, I think you, stated two different things. You said it was daylight or dark. So when you went to his house,
It was daylight when I went in,
Okay.
it was daylight when I came out.
understood. As for the time that you were there, you don't remember.
It's been too long.
That's fair. Okay. And we don't want you guessing, so you just don't know. Okay, now, as it relates to, there were several questions asked about, why you did not call the police. Do you recall that? Yes. Okay, and so at the time when you were there, with everything that just happened, why, please tell the board, why did you, not feel comfortable contacting the police?
That house is being watched, for drug activity, for one. And, for two, I didn't think that I was gonna get the help that I deserved, being a recovered person. And then I'm stuck, and then I come disheveled out of his home. It's not a good look.
Okay, did you feel like at the time that you would be believed by the police?
No.
Okay.
I would have been labeled a drug addict and anything else, it's like,
Okay, and that was from prior experiences that you've had with police?
well, he has
Just listen to the question. Have you had prior negative interactions with the police?
yes,
And did that in any way frame your, then at the time you were there, wanting to or not wanting to contact the police?
yeah.
Okay. There was a question in the beginning that was asked as it relates to kind of your demeanor today, about shaking. Can you describe to the court what is causing you or something causing you to be nervous or shaky?
I have clinically severe anxiety diagnosed.
Okay. Are you anxious today?
Yes, very much so.
Okay. Are you anxious testifying?
Yes.
Okay. Is this a comfortable topic for you to be talking about?
Not at all.
Okay. Is it comfortable for you to be seeing Mo in the courtroom today?
No.
Okay.
I didn't know that you had to cut off all of your using friends too.
Okay.
I'm going down.
Okay, and that was gonna be the next question I asked you. There was, kind of a description about how, Mo was behaving at the time when you arrived. Do you recall that line of questions by the defense attorney? Okay, you had indicated earlier that you knew Mo for like over 10 years, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and it sounds like this was a friend of yours?
Yeah.
Is it someone that you trusted?
Yes.
And I believe you described that you cared for him?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you at that time believe that he would do anything like that that would have been harmful to you?
For my government, I don't know.
Okay. And just very quickly, there were questions asked about you staying in the home. Did you describe earlier that in fact you were trying to leave the residence?
I was actively trying to leave half the time I was there.
Okay, were you able to do so?
Yeah.
Eventually, you were able to.
But I'm there.
When you were trying to leave, though, was Mo allowing you to leave?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Cross.
Ms. Asher testified on redirect that, you knew that house to be under watch. Somebody was watching that house,
Yes.
and to your knowledge, who was that?
I would rather not say.
Was it the police?
Yes.
So despite.
That's what I found out in the case of waiting for this case to go along. And I've also heard it from Mo's mouth himself. He said that they got a bottle of Xanax out of his
So,
car on his property.
That was a yes.
knowing that that house was being watched by the police, nevertheless, she went in the house that day.
I thought we were going.
Did you go in the house that day?
Yeah.
Now, you talked about the sensitivity of being pregnant. And you said that you told Mo that you were pregnant?
Yes, and I was visibly showing.
Okay, and once you had your child, did you tell Mo about that?
No.
Okay, and how much did your child?
Judge, this is beyond the scope of redirect, and I don't see the relevancy to that.
It's certainly beyond the scope, and we can all do the math.
I have no further questions, Judge.
You can step down when you're ready. Take some tissues with you. I'm going to suspend the work program just like I would suspend jail. If you are in treatment, and I'm talking about like inpatient treatment, then let me know. If you're in treatment for 10 days, I'm going to figure that's work program. You got it? Because I'd much rather have you on the inpatient track than the jail or alternative track. Okay? All right. Anything else, counsel? All right. So I'm going to do 18 months probation. When's the last time you had a job?
I've been working off the books for, Elf Roofing for the last year,
Okay.
but I've been, like, he's still the boss, that's probably the best friend since they were kids. He gets to share his job.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Plus, depending on weather, but once I get my tickets, in order for my license, I can go back to being a union carpenter.
Okay. Good money. Yeah, good money. So what's the status with your drivers?
Several tickets, I just have to pay them. And so the juggling of the pay versus being able to
Yep.
ride with my daughter,
Any idea what it costs to get your license back?
it's roughly $12,000. But the summer is coming,
Yeah.
the hot season, and for me to do that, I can probably do that
Yeah.
within the 2 months
Okay.
coming.
All right, but understand where my head is, and I hope your head is the same place. The first thing is to get you treated, get you healthy, get you clean, right? Okay, because everything else is better after that. Okay, so as much as you want to make money and get your license back, obviously the main thing is you stay out of trouble, no new charges. I'm ordering the evaluations within 21 days. I made a note for myself, work program or inpatient. That's just a note for myself. I'm not ordering either one at this point. I'm not going to give you any fines or costs. Yeah. What's that? I don't even have cards. I'll get one off my desk. But her card is one you need because you got that. That's who you communicate. Yeah. That's it. You communicate with Ms. Trolley because she's your probation officer. Okay. So I want you in treatment. I want you in treatment. I want you in treatment. Okay. Any clarification? Ms. Trolley? Okay. Thanks for doing the rush job. All right. Good luck on your file downtown. You're welcome. He certainly has.
No, I don't know.
Council, are we ready on Cox? What are we doing?
Yes, it's on the.
All right, appearances on the People versus Joseph Cox, please.
Morning, that is at 12:85:69. You have some comments, and sitting in the record, please.
That's just, Joseph Cox.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Today's the date and time set for the examination. It is now 12:08 by this court's clock. We did send subpoenas. The complaining witness initially stated to our office last month that she was not willing to proceed. However, we served her, the officer in charge, named Toilet, served her on Thursday. It was the last week. And she indicated that she was coming. However, it is 12. Subpoena was for 11:30. It's past half hour and she's not here, therefore we cannot proceed.
Council? All right, did you post any cash? All right. 90% of that gets back to you. Anything else?
Judge, is he the one that, is there a big posted that says that he posted by credit card? We don't have the funds yet, so we can't do anything. When they.
Oh, yeah, it is. Understand that?
We don't.
You posted the bond on credit card, so we don't actually have money to give you back yet. But at some point, when that comes through, we're gonna return 90%. What's that?
My card.
I don't know.
It's on my figure.
All right. Okay, good luck. Counsel, can you approach on something else? You're welcome. You. Sorry, that wasn't very clear. I just talked to Nippus from Romulus.
Oh.
And so. Yeah.
Just be done.
Yeah, just shut it down.
I just talked to Nicholas and
Yes.
I didn't get the defendant's name.
A courtroom hearing took an emotional turn after a judge focused less on punishment and more on saving a man's life from addiction. The defendant stood before the court, struggling with legal trouble, suspended licenses, unpaid tickets, and drug issues. But instead of immediately throwing him in jail, the judge kept repeating one thing: "I want you in treatment." At first, the discussion centered around probation, work programs, and possible jail alternatives. But the judge quickly stopped everyone and clarified that the real goal wasn't punishment. It was getting the defendant evaluated and into serious inpatient treatment, if necessary. The man admitted he had been working off the books for over a year and hoped to get his driver's license back so he could return to selling used cars. But the judge warned him that none of that mattered until he got clean first. Then came one of the strongest moments in the hearing. The judge explained that treatment was more important than work programs, money, or even getting back on the road, because every part of life improves only after sobriety. Instead of handing down harsh fines, the judge ordered 18 months probation, mandatory evaluations within 21 days, and strongly encouraged inpatient rehab over jail time. Moments later, another criminal case was suddenly dismissed after the complaining witness failed to appear in court, leading to an awkward exchange over bond money and credit card payments.